Welcome to another episode of From the Blind Spot presented by me, Zach. Welcome to another preview episode of From the Blind Spot. Today we're going to be covering the Japanese Grand Prix, which is round 3 of the 2025 F1 season. But we got some big news to start off the episode. Yuki Tsunoda is in at Red Bull, while Liam Lawson is out and going back to the sister team VCarb. So this is huge news in F1 because Red Bull has been, their second seat has been a revolving chair ever since Max Verstappen got into that seat. It's been causing obviously a lot of talking points because they can't find a driver to compete with Max and his style of driving and his style of car, which is, as Alex Albon puts it, like on a knife's edge, quite literally. Like one turn too much and you could be in the gravel or out of the race entirely. So very tough to drive car. Obviously, Yuki is now up for that challenge. He said that he's very excited for this challenge. And I'm kind of excited to see how he handles that Red Bull seat. Obviously, for him being his home Grand Prix in Japan, and Japan really, or like, I guess Honda more so, wanting Yuki to be in that seat at Red Bull and like kind of pressuring the Red Bull team and executives to make that move for Yuki has been kind of a long time coming, so to speak. But I do feel bad for Liam Lawson. It's obviously his dream to race in F1. He's still racing in F1, but he got bumped down to basically the B team. But hopefully for him at VCarb, he can do well. He's very familiar with the Suzuka International Circuit in Japan. He raced Super Formula there, which is kind of like, the best comparison is like a junior league of F1. If F1, F2, and F3 are like the top 3 leagues, then there's Super Formula or Formula 4. He is very familiar with this track. He's been to this track a lot, and he's going back to a car that he's more familiar with while racing for VCarb in the previous 2 seasons for some short stints. So, obviously, I'm hoping that he does well and gets his confidence back for this triple header that we're going into. But back to Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki is very well deserving of this Red Bull seat. Obviously, I've said that he's had this opportunity for quite some time to get into this Red Bull seat, but he's been passed up multiple times, whether it was Sergio Perez, Liam Lawson. I think he's also been there for quite a few years, probably around 5-ish years. He's been on that VCarb Alpha Tauri seat. So I'm happy for him to get this expertise and get that bump up. I think he's going to do a great job. We'll get to some of that in some of my betting picks and prediction picks as well. But let's move on to what Max thinks about this move. Max Verstappen took to Instagram and basically said, like, this move is bullying or a panic move because Red Bull doesn't have the fastest car on the grid anymore. And Max is putting that Red Bull car in places that it shouldn't be. Like, it shouldn't be finishing on the podium like Max has been doing for, I think, the first race he podiumed, definitely not the second one. It's going to be interesting to see how that Red Bull performs this weekend. Obviously, I believe in Max. Max is dominant at the Suzuka circuit. He's won 2 or 3 of the last ones he's won here at Suzuka, so he's very good here. It's a high downforce track, which will be, I think, favoriting the McLarens, and once again, we'll get into my picks later, but I have to focus on the big news that was Liam Lawson getting switched out. Do I personally think that it was a panic move by Red Bull to take Liam Lawson out of that seat for after 2 races? Yeah, I do think so. But the fact that they got 10 million pounds from Honda for getting Yuki into that seat and probably making Yuki a little bit more comfortable, being the fact that it is his home race, he's racing at a track that he's also familiar with, and I think that he's just excited to get his chance at this Red Bull seat. Do I think he's going to win the race? No. Does he think he is? I think that Yuki thinks that he's going to win the race himself, but I don't think he's going to sniff a podium here. Maybe top 6, but definitely not a podium. Other things to talk about in this last kind of week and a half from the last episode. Kimi Antonelli, the second driver for the Mercedes team, he is currently still in high school or secondary school, whatever you call it. He is an 18-year-old. And there was a TikTok that came up saying, like, oh, I go to high school with an F1 driver. And then it kind of moved around the paddock, and people were asking him, like, you're still in school? Like, don't you have finals to take soon? He's like, yeah, I got to take finals soon to be able to finish school. It's a tough time to find time for that. Meanwhile, I'm thinking here, like, yeah, you got a race this weekend, and then you have a race the next weekend, and then you have a race the weekend after. We're going into a triple header of Japan, Bahrain, and then Saudi Arabia, I think. Did I have those written down? Jeddah, which is Saudi Arabia. So it seems like he's going to be studying between all of these races, and then probably after the Jeddah race, he's probably going to take his finals at the end of maybe April, maybe the end of May. But that's what you get when you're 18 years old driving an F1 car. So, but good for him finishing his schools. That's important. Stay in school, kids. One other cool thing about this weekend is that a lot of drivers have very interesting driver helmets. I think both of the McLaren boys both have special helmets. Obviously, both of the Red Bull boys have special helmets, like Yuki being from Japan. Max having won a driver's championship at the Suzuka circuit, like it being decided there in the past for 2022. He has a special helmet, and a few other drivers probably do. There are 2 special liveries this weekend. One of them is the Haas. Very sick livery. Obviously, they keep their white color, but they added pink for the cherry blossoms that bloom around this time in Japan. So, very cool livery, very cool concept here. They probably did this concept because they are in partnership with Toyota Gazoo Racing, which is the Toyota Racing Group. Obviously, Toyota being a Japanese car manufacturer. There's been a little bit of rumors about Haas turning into a Team Toyota, which I think would be very cool for the grid in the future years to come. One other livery is that Red Bull is going back to their white livery. They're doing a white and red livery for this Grand Prix, not to be confused with the red, white, and blue of their sister team, VCarb. Obviously, if you're watching on the YouTube, I have both those pictures up so that you could have a good idea of what these look like. So, thank you for watching if you are watching on the YouTube. And a little April Fool's joke that was pulled was that Steak Sauber did a kind of funny thing with their livery. They showed that their car was a piece of meat for Kick Steak Sauber. Obviously, it was an F1 prank, but I love the promotional video. You got a few chuckles out of me. But yeah, good stuff from the liveries this weekend. A few other small notes is that Carlos Sainz came out publicly recently for Williams, saying that yes, he has been struggling with the car a bit, but hopefully with future upgrades coming in the next 3 races, he will be more familiar with the car and hopefully get better results. Hopefully up near where Alex Albon has been finishing races, and that their hot streak can continue, which would, I think, be fantastic. And Ferrari's cold streak to continue as well, because that'd be awesome for just the storyline of this year, saying that Ferrari has been struggling compared to Williams. All right, time for some little fun facts here. So Suzuka, by team wins, is actually pretty even. McLaren, Ferrari, and Red Bull all have the most with 7 wins each. Mercedes-Benz has 6 wins. Now this is kind of going back in time. Renault has 1 win. Benton Formula 1 has 3, and Williams has 3. I think those 7 wins there are from very earlier years. Meanwhile, McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull are all kind of recent and kind of old as well. So we will see if the McLaren, Ferrari, or Red Bull can get their 8th win at Suzuka this next weekend. Now, time for some other fun facts here. Japan has hosted its first F1 World Championship round in 1976 at Fuji, where James Hunt finished 3rd and was crowned the world champion, beating his title rival Niki Lauda. If you've ever seen the movie Rush, that kind of goes over a little bit of that rivalry. I recommend the movie. It's not it's not the most accurate movie, but it's pretty good. It's entertaining. So Japan has hosted 38 F1 World Championship races, with 4 taking place at Fuji and the other 34 at Suzuka. 2 Japanese drivers have finished on the podium at their home Grand Prix, Kobayashi in 2012 and Suzuki in 1990. Michael Schumacher is the most successful driver at Suzuka with 8 pole positions and 6 wins. Yuki Tsunoda's 10th place finish in 2024 made him the first Japanese driver to earn points at the Japanese Grand Prix since Kobayashi 12 years earlier. Suzuka is the only track on the F1 calendar with a figure 8 design, featuring a crossover section and the iconic high-speed left-hander A total of 13 World Championship titles have been decided at Suzuka, including a streak of 5 consecutive seasons from 1987 to 1991. But now this race is the third on the year. They've moved it to the beginning of the calendar for the sake of, I believe, traveling back and forth on the global stage. Like starting in Australia and then ending in Japan, I guess isn't really fuel efficient if you think about it. In addition to the drivers' titles, the Constructors' Championship has been settled at Suzuka 10 times compared to 13. Max Verstappen won his second title with Red Bull at Suzuka in 2022, exactly 11 years after Sebastian Vettel took his second championship with Red Bull at the same circuit. So there are some of your fun facts for the Japanese Grand Prix. Yeah, we got some good stuff out there. All right. That is all the news that I have. Let's get into my betting picks. All right. So these are my 3 betting picks. As most of you, or hopefully some of you know, I am 0 for 6 this season on the 3 betting picks that I picked per race. And I went with, I think, some good ones here. I hope. We'll see. They're all plus money still. This is a George Russell podium finish. George Russell has been really good in the first 2 races, obviously finishing on the podium both times, which is something that I believe no one really expected from Mercedes, to be able to compete with the McLarens up there, having 2 drivers in the points each time and just like kind of outperforming everyone's thoughts here. George Russell's podium finish is a plus 165 before anything starts this weekend. My second pick is a double top 6 finish for Red Bull. That is also plus 165. So that means we got to have Yuki Tsunoda up there very high in the points, at least 6th place or better, and hope that nothing happens to their cars. Obviously, I think Max is going to dominate here because he has in the past. So that's why I like that bet at plus 165. You're just basically banking on if Yuki can have a good qualifying and that he can kind of hold his position or gain a few positions into the race. My last and final betting pick for this race is fastest qualifier and race winner Lando Norris, plus 300. So I like this bet because obviously I know McLaren is bringing a few upgrades here and there. They haven't really come out and said. I think it's more of like the tail end and like a diffuser kind of upgrade. So we'll see if those upgrades work. But I like Lando being the fastest qualifier. He's very experienced at this circuit. He's on a hot streak. It's going to be very dry for qualifying. And the race might be a little wet, but I think that he's shown that he can handle a wet track and bring home a win here. Bring home a second win of 2025, hopefully. Now for my picks, starting at P3, we're going to go with Charles Leclerc. I'm picking this because these picks have also been very cold. I'm 1 for 10. Yeah, I like Charles Leclerc here. I like a Max Verstappen in P2. And obviously, I've already said Lando Norris to win. P1 for Lando Norris. As everyone knows, I also picked the P10 position. I like Carlos Sainz in this P10 position. Obviously, I'm hoping for a double points finish for my team, Williams. We'll see what Carlos can do here. I think that Carlos can hopefully gain more confidence in the car. This circuit is high downforce, which is something I feel like Williams can improve on and make it better, because typically in the past, the Williams has been good in straight line, really straight tracks like Monza or what's that one in Canada? The Canadian Grand Prix. My bad. Yeah, my wild prediction is that Liam Lawson also finishes in the top 10. Like I said before, Liam is very familiar with the Suzuka, being that he came from Super Formula. He does a lot of races there, and he's with a Formula 1 team that he is familiar with again, which is VCarb, that he's raced for in the past 2 years, and mainly the end of last season as well. F1 Fantasy, not much changing here, keeping the same 5 drivers, the same double points. Lando Norris getting double points. He's my driver number 1, Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon, Oliver Behrman, Nico Hulkenberg. Nico Hulkenberg's had a fantastic year this year. We're going to keep him on the team. I like it. I like where we're at here. The one big change I made was that I changed out the Ferrari car for the Merc car, because I feel like Kimi Antonelli, he may not get into Q3, but I know George will, and I know that Kimi has those skills that can excel him to the next level. Obviously, he's been the best rookie so far, and I think he can make up a lot of places if he doesn't qualify well. And the other team there is Racing Bulls, because now we got Isaac Hadjar, and Liam Lawson. And I think that they're going to bring some fighting to the table here for themselves. Yeah. So that's it for my predictions episode and the Japanese Grand Prix preview episode here on From the Blind Spot. Thank you all for listening. Shout out John. Thank you, John. Going forward this week, I think that I am going on vacation, so maybe the post-race episode for the Japanese Grand Prix won't be out in time, but make sure you stay posted on TikTok and Instagram at from.the.blindspot on TikTok and Instagram. So yeah, thank you all for listening, and this is me signing out.